Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Greg. Welcome to the channel. Today is Valentine's Day, 2019. So I figured I'd talk about the seventh house in Thunder Wizard Astrology, Vedic astrology. You know, the seventh house is the house of the partner, the long-term partner, the spouse. It's a house of relationships in general too. Also, other people, business relationships. It's a house of litigation. It could represent like contracts. Represents alliances, that type of stuff. Represents your desires, but mostly, you know, it represents the marriage partner. So I wanted to talk about that. Um, like I was reading some things about the seventh house that I got right here. The seventh house, it shows our social nature in relationships. Can also indicate political power. But if malefics like Saturn or Mars are located here, they could render us disturbed in our sexual relations. I could really relate to that kind of stuff. Um, when I look back on my life, it's because I have Mars in the seventh house. Not only, and Mars, you know, Mars is energy. Mars is like the warrior. Mars doesn't think. Mars is just pure energy, wanting to go out and accomplish things, going out there, and a lot of stamina and really just pushing forward. You know, courage, self-esteem. You know, it represents fire. It's in the south of the thunder wheel, which is the realm of transformation. So you know, it has its positive effects too. Mars, it can really give you the drive to really focus and change your life. So I got that in the seventh house though. You know, I started looking back on my life and my relationships with women, and being that it says, you know, it causes conflict, that's totally true. I mean, not only do I have Mars in my seventh house, I got Rahu in my seventh house also. And Rahu is about obsessive desires in that negative sense. It's about obsessive desires. So, you know, that desire to be with somebody that, or when it gets really negative, can be like sexually, um, you know, off balance, being too obsessed with sex, you know, which in my younger years I could relate to big time, you know. And whenever Rahu sits with another planet in the house, it's like sticking a magnifying glass on that planet. It's empowering the energies of that planet for better or for worse, you know, depending on you and what who you are and what you're doing in your life, you know. And you know, those are two malefic planets too, Rahu and Mars. And so in the negative sense, it could represent like someone who's really disrespects the other, you know, pretty much treats them like shit, you know. And I could totally relate to that. I've been there, I've done that. Especially when I was really like 19, 20, 21, yeah, even 18 too. More when I was like kind of more in the gang kind of lifestyle, where you just look at women like bitches, and you know they're just sexual objects, and that's it. And whenever you bring them up in conversation, then you just total disrespect. You know, they're just here for my pleasure, and they're stupid. You know, I don't know how many times I've said that straight up to women back then, and I can remember making a woman cry just from my words, completely tearing them apart with words, you know. So I have really experienced that kind of a conflict. And also, in another sense, though, when I started turning more spiritual, back in around the early 90s, when I started becoming like 22, 23 years old, becoming more spiritual and trying to understand women more, having more of a laid back attitude. Basically, that Rahu was magnifying Mars, but Rahu really, in the positive sense, wants to expand its knowledge, wants to expand everything, wants to, yeah, expand it globally, you know, all worldwide, you know. It wants to take shortcuts too to do that. And Mars, with the energy of Mars, is giving it that energy to do that. And really, in the positive sense, it's wanting to help the world and expose the world to negativity, positivity, you know, helping people with a true reality about anything, you know. But in that sense, I can remember trying to really change my personality, the way I approach women, being a little more or a lot more passive, laid back. And back then, I started encountering the exact opposite, you know. That whole Rahu Mars started coming from the woman towards me, which that can happen too, You know, whatever planet signs your seventh house is, they're either going to affect you or the partner, or they're going to affect the both of you in these different kinds of ways. And my seventh house is Capricorn too, which is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is about this law of karma. It's about order. It's about constriction. It's about holding back things until you learn the lessons. It's about fear, anxiety. You know, it's another malefic planet too. And I know I could remember dating women in the early '90s, early mid '90s, and encountering these kind of attitudes with women. A lot of mood changing kind of things. I mean, from one minute they're really cool, and the next minute they're trying to overpower me. And, one of them really wanted to start asking me for money, like literally like on the second or third date. I don't remember, but I loaned her money one time. Then like a week later, she wanted more money. I'm like, damn. You know, then that Mars started coming out of me. I'm like, what do you? Why don't you go ask your family? You know, ask someone else for money. You keep asking me. You barely met each other. You know, what's going on with that? You know, and she got all pissed out, give me an attitude, whatever. And I'm like, whatever. You know, I started having an attitude back too. One positive experience from that one though was it helped me to write a song about not necessarily about her, but inspired by her, about women who are like gold diggers and stuff, you know. But it was a pretty rocking song there, 20 years ago. I encountered a lot of that though with women, a lot of mood changing stuff throughout the late '90s. Yeah, big time. And also when I encountered someone who was really friendly though, really cool, I would end up trying to run away. I would lose interest because it was, you feel that that feeling inside of you where it's like, oh, you need to really open up to this person, and I didn't want to. You know, I felt that fear, you know, and ran away from it. You know, I didn't really know myself too good about how my unconscious works back then. So I had these planets really affecting who I was back then. I'm checking out this book right here. I was saying Mars, it says Mars causes conflict but gives personal power when it's in the seventh house. Now in the long run, nowadays, I can relate to that personal power thing because that's what I've been doing now with Qigong and mantra. I've been really empowering myself on a personal level and really trying to understand these energies, how they affect me in life. Like the conflict part, hopefully I don't encounter that the next woman I spend time with, you know. And I'm going to try to stay more open-minded and really be, show who I really am, you know. And relationships are, like the Thunder Wizard said, they're a reflection of who you are, where you're at in your life, you know. So you're encountering these kind of passive-aggressive attitudes, these bipolar attitudes. It's really a reflection of yourself. You know, you attract who you are. That's a really hard thing to really realize. He made a video the other day about relationships. One thing he said about in there was, I forgot what he said. Can't remember. But yeah, it's really important to really know yourself and grow as a person. Damn, I'm trying to remember what he said. I can't remember what he said now. Slipped my mind. Oh yeah, about no, I don't remember. Slipping away. But yeah, let me talk about some other ones. It also says that Mercury in the seventh house tends to cause quick or superficial relationships. Mercury is like a player, a charmer. It's about the intellect. So this is a person that can be, the mind is going haywire, going with a lot of thoughts. What else do we got here? Venus gives attraction but can cause excess desire. You know, Venus is all about love and pleasure of the senses. So it can give you that great passion, excess desire. Maybe that can get abused, fall into disharmony with the other. What else do I got here? Saturn causes separation, detachment, and selfishness, but also gives power. So that's like Mars, gives that personal power, where you start really expanding and growing, learning who you are. And yeah, the Thunder Wizard said, I want relationships. I just want to be accepted for who I am, right now. And he said, what that's really saying is that you don't really want to grow as a person. And that really hit me when he said that. I felt that in me, like, oh shit, I think he's right. Because I've said that about relationships for me. I just want people to accept me for who I am. But part of a relationship is really growing with that person and reflecting who they are back to them, and really wanting to help them grow, be happy. What really makes you happy is seeing them happy. That's what it's really all about. So that's all I wanted to talk about, that seventh house. And if anybody wants a Thunder Wizard reading, astrology reading, I'll leave the link on the bottom. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Peace.